News Talk 580, KMJ, Chris Daniel here, getting ready for One Line Wednesday in about an hour. And Yates Walker still with us as he helped me break down, we've been breaking down for the past half hour, this story about Gibson guitars and their desperation and their mystification about how they're being, quite frankly, bullied by the federal government and having their stuff confiscated and held. And they hold the Madagascar wood for a year and 9 months now, but no charges are filed. And they're instructed, just so much about this. And the people at Gibson are mystified. And they're mystified not only by why they're being hassled, but when they do act upon them, why are you coming with bulletproof vests and armed agents? It's a very bizarre situation. To help us understand it and maybe to help him out as well, the Chief Executive Officer of Gibson Guitars, Henry Juszkiewicz, is with us. Mr. Juszkiewicz, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
I know that once you've gone online with Twitter and Facebook, it's getting busy for you. But how you doing, first of all?
Well, I'm holding up, and I think that we have a great company and a great team of people, and I think that we're in the right, and so we're fighting the good fight.
You, for people just joining us right now, if you don't play guitar, you know Gibson anyway, and if you do play guitar, you know what that means. And in my family alone, my brother doesn't have your guitar. He doesn't learn to play. He doesn't go on to do what he does with his guitar. You are an American iconic business that seems to be being hassled for no reason I can determine. Even the Lacey Act doesn't really define this.
The Lacey Act, in my opinion, is just a very poorly written law, and allows for this kind of abuse to take place for whatever reason.
Either in the case, Mr. Juszkiewicz, of the raid on the 24th that involved wood from India, or the raid in 2009 that involved wood from Madagascar, do you think the U.S. government is interpreting Madagascar law differently than the actual government of Madagascar?
Well, we know it is. We have filed a lawsuit in Nashville federal court to recover the goods that were seized in the original raid. Mm-hmm. And in that, of course, it's a lawsuit, so we have to present evidence and so forth. And we presented a pile of evidence that shows that the material, the wood in question, was legally obtained. We have numerous affidavits certified from Malagasy government officials and agencies saying that the wood is fine and freely exportable. So yes, Madagascar says things are fine. The U.S. government is then interpreting that law differently than the government itself. And interestingly enough, the government in one of its pleadings said that they don't recognize the Madagascar government.
What?
Yes.
Madagascar law or Madagascar's government?
Interpreting the law of a country that they said they don't recognize. It's really kind of bizarre,
Have you
to read it?
Are there any complaints from people in India or Madagascar saying, hey, wait a minute, you're dinging our own economy. This is a fine relationship we have, whether it's ebony fingerboards or whatever wood you're using for whatever part of the instrument. They're saying, hey, you're taking money out of our pockets too.
Well, to my knowledge, no one has sort of made that point officially from either government, but at the same time, neither government has a problem with the commerce in fingerboards, and they didn't ask for any help, in other words, and they are freely doing business with other countries and other people today.
Yeah. Now, I just want to make sure I've got my facts right too. No charges have been filed against you, and you still have not recovered that which was seized in 2009, right?
That's right. And we, at this point, we have really suffered. Our factory's been closed twice. A significant amount of material, almost $1 million of raw material, was taken from us by force. And it's a total cost with legal fees and lost production and so forth is into the $3+ million range already. And again, we haven't been charged yet.
Again, just trying to verify some facts. We're talking with Henry Juszkiewicz, the CEO of Gibson Guitars, a great American company out of Nashville. Forgive me for bringing up the name of your competitor, but I think it's worth it in this case. First of all, does your competitors, in the case I'm thinking of Fender, do they use the same kind of woods from the same kind of places as you do?
Yes. Everyone in the guitar business more or less uses rosewood and ebony fingerboards.
Right.
And everyone who does buys at least some portion of that from India.
Have you heard of any of the same kind of activity from Justice or Fish and Game being executed against your competitors?
No, we are the only ones that have been singled out, and they continue to do business and buy both. They're not only buying Indian rosewood and ebony successfully without interference from the government, but several companies also are continuing to buy and advertise Madagascar fingerboards.
Mr. Juszkiewicz, did an agent of the U.S. government suggest to you that your problems would go away if you used Madagascar labor instead of American labor?
They actually wrote that in a pleading.
Excuse me?
They actually wrote that in a pleading.
That your problems would go away if you used Madagascar labor instead of our labor?
Yes. Yeah, they said that explicitly.
May I ask what your reaction at the time was, other than I'm sorry about the bruise on your chin from it hitting the floor?
It's this is the weirdest situation to be in. I can't even believe we're here.
I can't believe we're in America hearing this.
It's true, and what can I say?
At some point, I imagine that maybe you're too deep into it now, but at some point you must have pulled up some of your credentials in terms of your own Gibson's own voluntary stewardship of rare woods. I mean, you are always compliant with the Forest Stewardship Council. You worked with Rainforest Alliance and Greenpeace. That can't have been always easy to do, to make sure you got FSC certified supplies. Did you bring that up to anybody and say, hey, man, I'm playing the game the way you defined the game?
Yeah, I really, we have been a leader in sort of doing the right thing in terms of wood sourcing for many, many years. And, yeah, it's like very ironic that we are the ones that are getting this treatment.
Did you also maybe possibly bring up, there's some terrorists about and some illegal immigration problems. Maybe you guys might want to take those armed agents and check something out a little bit more important?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, these guys are not friendly. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got to know now, is your hair long?
No.
Okay. All right. Just checking to see if anybody has some preconceived notions about what they were going to find when they got there, because I'm sure their hair wasn't long. What are you doing now, if I can ask, and what would you like others who are listening to do to help?
Well, we're doing two things, and one is we're looking for a legal avenue to get our case heard.
Yeah.
The fact is that we don't have anywhere to go. We have evidence that we believe proves conclusively that we did nothing wrong. But where do you go to prove that? There is no way of doing that in an investigation. The only people we can talk to are the Department of Justice people, and they're not talking. And so we're looking for a court where we can sue and get our case heard and adjudicated. So that's the first thing, and our lawyers are working on it. We hope to have some case filed by the end of this week. Secondly, more importantly, we hope to go to the court of public opinion. I think we have been grievously wronged. We haven't really done anything, and I think it's obvious. I mean, I think once the facts are laid out, and we're hoping the public calls their congressmen, their senators, the politicians who have influence and can bring some sanity to this proceeding.
Well, not only that, sir, but I don't know the scale of what you take in and your revenue, but you are losing millions here, and now you're being forced to defend yourself, which is not going to be cheap considering the kind of firepower you're going to need to go up against the firepower you're facing.
No, it's going to be a battle, and
well, I mean, it's almost they're challenging you to go ahead and try to defend yourself and further weaken your financial position while you do.
Yes.
Oh man,
it's just not fair. I don't think. But we will march on. Again, I think we have some great people. We have had a lot of support. People have been calling in, have been calling congressmen, and that's making us feel really great that people are with us.
I hope you find avenues. I'm going to suggest one that may not make sense off the top of it, but this kind of sort of thing is happening too with Operation Fast and Furious and the guns going down to Mexico. There's a guy named Larry Pratt, who is the president of Gun Owners of America, who's been following this, millimeter by millimeter, not your story, but the other. But he may have some avenues for you as well in terms of legal contacts, and I know he would be happy to help. So.
All right, I'm Larry Pratt. I'm going to write that down.
Gun Owners of America, yeah, GOA, gunownersofamerica.org. So, from us, what kind of response have you gotten from the people from the Tea Party that you reached out to on Twitter and Facebook?
Great.
Anything concrete?
Really from everyone. Everyone has we're getting people calling in. We're getting Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and just an overwhelming 95% plus people who are outraged, as are we, with what we have faced.
The wood that was seized from Madagascar in 2009, they've had it for 1 year and 3/4 now. Is that wood going to be usable should you ever get it back? Because I imagine they're not storing it properly, and humidity or dryness could probably mess up with the fingerboard wood, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't let us look at it, and so we sued them for the return of the wood. They took us to the door of the warehouse, and they wouldn't let us look inside. So most likely it is not going to be in great shape, I would guess.
We're with Henry Juszkiewicz, the CEO of Gibson Guitars. Now, we hear that the Justice Department has asked the judge in question to stop the court case indefinitely. Which court case and which court?
It is Justice Department versus Ebony Fingerboards, and it is a federal case in the Nashville federal courts.
And the DOJ just asked for, is it a stay? And that
they have filed a motion to stay the proceedings because the proceedings will somehow interfere with their investigation.
It will illuminate and destroy their investigation.
I think it would be, yes, but that's my opinion.
And now here is your one more part of your frustration that, like you say, to whom do we defend? Where do we go to defend?
Right. We're not getting even that day in court. And we've been litigating for well over a year. We have filed in well over 80,000 documents in this court case.
Excuse me? You filed 80,000 documents already on this?
Yes.
You're right. It's time to go to the court of public opinion because that's going to be the only thing that's going to move the bar anymore. I hate to say it, but, once again, it looks like the only motivator to malfeasance in the federal government is shame. You're going to have to shame them enough, in my opinion, to the point where the light's shining enough that they have to respond. And I hope you do.
That's really, we were, quiet and allowing the process to move forward. And then when they came in with guns a second time, in my view, they crossed the line, and we had to take action. And the only action we can take is to give the issue visibility and, allow the public to weigh in.
Mr. Juszkiewicz, we have some evidence that your competitor Fender is a fairly major contributor to the Democratic Party. Do you kind of regret that you hadn't done the same? Do you feel there's anything involved with that?
I hate to. I don't know, and so I won't comment without any. But there's got to be something there. You know.
More than likely. All right, I'm running out of time, unfortunately. As far as Twitter and Facebook, for people to find the fastest access to help out on Facebook, what is it listed as?
I think it's hash.
The hashtag is this will not stand.
Yes.
Is that for both? Is that Twitter and Facebook? We'll check it out. We'll find it for you.
And also, you could check out our website, www.gibson.com, and we have a bunch of information there as well.
Way to go getting Gibson.com, by the way. I mean, it's not the rarest of names. That's good. We will do what we can on this end. I got a feeling we'll probably be talking to you again in the near future. You have our sympathy, you have our support, and I wish you the very best, especially just sleeping at night, because this will end and you will win, I hope.
Thank you very, very much for the time and for the support. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you will get it, too, and we appreciate you being here and taking the time. I know how it feels on a different court case, what it feels like to have to be able to have to talk about this. So thank you very, very much. Everybody, Henry Juszkiewicz, CEO of Gibson Guitars, an American company in danger of being taken down by the American government.